A Hat in Time has the single most important thing an indie game can have. It allows small studios to compete with AAA games with a fraction of the budget, and it's the reason A Hat in Time's platforming can hold its own against the juggernaut that is Mario. Indie studios, by definition, work with less resources than AAA ones. If you want to compete for the same customers as these behemoths, you need a way to even the playing field. A Hat in Time does this by limiting scope. It keeps the size of the game manageable for the number of people making it. Scope creep kills projects. Since games are so complicated, it can be very easy to accidentally add months of work to a game, especially if you're relatively inexperienced. And even if a poorly scoped game does get made, it's likely to be unfocused, bland, or broken. A Hat in Time is none of these things, and it even gives Mario a run for his money. It might not be as big or as polished, but its campaign is roughly the length of Super Mario Galaxy's, and the platforming absolutely holds its own. So how'd they pull it off? First, they reuse assets everywhere. Asset creation is incredibly time-consuming, so you want to make the most of the assets you have if you're low on manpower. For example, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 gives Minoko the ability to transform into enemies in battle. So the devs didn't need to create new attack animations, they could just plug in the ones that were already built for existing enemies. A Hat in Time benefits from the same philosophy. Its tone and structure allow the devs to reuse assets without it feeling cheap. The game is adorable, goofy, and a little campy.
We want to die! Yay!
And the great thing about camp is that audiences are willing to forgive a little bit of corner cutting. This entire world is filled with mafia guys who all have the same model and the same voice. And it totally works.
We punch Seagull for not respecting Mafia.
The structure of A Hat in Time helps too. Like classic collectathons, the game sends you back to the same levels multiple times with different objectives. The devs make a lot of changes to the levels, but that's much less work than creating an entirely new environment from scratch. In one level, you run around this town meeting paparazzi to become a movie star. When you come back, you're leading a parade on the rooftops of the same town. It's really fun to have the environment recontextualized like this. It's also financially frugal for the devs. Even the platforming has limited scope. The movement in this game feels fantastic, largely because of its simplicity. Hat Kid doesn't have as many movement options as Mario does, even compared to Super Mario 64, but every move she does have is polished, responsive, and robust. Look at the effects when you dive. The smoke particles look great, and the splash effect that wraps around her is such a nice touch. The color of the smoke also changes depending on what level you're in. These touches make the platforming super satisfying. Just like Super Mario 64, it's fun to just run around and jump in an empty room, so you know they did a good job. Even though there aren't many moves, they're enough to always get you to where you want to go. And because you don't have to learn a whole suite of jumps, it's all very easy to master. Pretty early on, I was flipping and diving across the world with ease, and it felt incredible. A Hat in Time shows what indie studios can achieve when they manage scope well. With smart decisions, limited resources can go a long way. You may not have Mario's budget, but you can still make something that feels just as good to play.